And there's certainly a lot of fizz out there. Both these sides were pretty flat last week. I thought Auckland, you know, collectively weren't there against Otago, and Canterbury equally in the last weekend. Not quite there against Tasman, but boy, when the Ranfurly Shield's up for grabs, bragging rights at top of the Air New Zealand table, the big fellas have come. What's outstanding, it's all on. It's pretty physical in there. It's a good little dab. Clever footballer. Just couldn't quite find the man on the outside. If that had been just stuck on a hand, I think we would have seen the second try of the game.
I'll just speak to them. Yep, thank you. Yeah, mate.
Big advantage in both territory and in possession for Auckland, and yet still behind on the scoreboard.
Well, I think Auckland needed to get a good start, but the thing is with Auckland, they don't want to switch off. Sometimes they get into the attacking zone and then they start to try and push things when they should be keeping just with their game plan, creating phases and letting things happen patiently. You know, holes will appear, but you know, you can't create them. You've just got to let them happen and then just slide on.
Which way, Stewie? Brent Ward straight behind Nathiwa.
Crouch. Touch.
Left, Smithy. I'll go left.
They are going to go left, and away goes Nathiwa. Times the pass. Now he gets it back. Nathiwa forwards. He's running strongly tonight, Issa Nathiwa.
Well, they went against. This is the hardest way to go from scrum ball because you're going against the opposition. But again, it's just let down.
Well, that wasn't forward from Toi Tupou, I tell you that. No way in the world that's a forward pass. So it must have been the earlier one, but they're not taking the scrum on that mark. So
Crouch.
Confused I am.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
Put in by Senio. Untidy Canterbury scrum. It'll be there though. Well, Corey Flynn has to kick it and can't get it out fast enough.
Well, Smithy, you know, the Orcs, you know, they've got more ball, more ground. They're 69% of the territory, 64% of possession, and yet on the scoreboard, they're one behind. Funny old game.
How does that work on you mentally, Stu? That's the key, isn't it?
Well, the pressure is on that red and black machine, which in my books has been one of the better outfits in New Zealand rugby I've seen for about the last decade, both Crusaders and with Canterbury in the Air New Zealand or provincial competition. They are the benchmark that most teams look at and stake their claim against them.
McCartney throws. Canterbury up there challenging. Now Nathiwa looking to bust in midfield as Kaino, again showing good power and aggression.
That's fine, nothing wrong with that.
Canterbury looking to drive through the centre and doing it too.
This guy here, roll out.
Well, I think before that there were definitely some red and black hands going over the tackled man. You know, he's penalised him twice already for slowing the ball down, and he was standing right there. You must always take the first infringement. But in that zone, I mean, the referee's got to have about 10 sets of eyes. Does he watch the tackler? Does he watch the man that's been tackled? Does he watch the attacking team come in? Does he watch the defensive team coming in? I mean, hey, it all happens in a flick of a second, and he has to make an instant decision.
Well, big change here for Auckland. I'm not sure if it's an injury one or not. Doesn't look like one to me, but Bradley Meeker coming on for Jay Williams. So a big man coming on for a more athletic variety. Maybe Auckland feel they need that bulk at the exchanges.
Yes, that is a big change after just 27.5 minutes in the game.
Six, you folded around offside to get that ball.
Penalty against Troy Flavel and Stephen Brett. Now this is within his range, and we hear Smithy, a genuine sub. No blood.
Well, the doctor's down there talking to Jay Williams. He hasn't put any ice on anything. Maybe there was a bang to the head or whatever. I'm not sure, Nisbo, but they got him off real quick.
might be watching tonight's game, All Blacks Romania, with some interest. Troy Flavel, a big comeback for Keith Robinson tonight.
So might this bloke, Nisbo.
Yes.
The calf's worse than we think.
Yes. Pulled it away to the left. Certainly had the distance. But Stephen Brett's kicking percentage around about 67. Taken by Flavel quickly. Moa. Nathiwa inside the 22. Won't find the touchline. Lining it up as Reed. Away for Brett. Nice high kick. Everybody's got a chance here, and nicely done by Nathiwa. Then he dropped it on the ground, having claimed it. Did the hard work and then lost it. Hamilton, as Auckland came through the middle and knocked it on. Scott Hamilton acting halfback.
Well, it's these little errors. Nathiwa took it beautifully, then got banged by the ever-presence of the Canterbury loose forwards.
Thanks, Steve.
On the ground, let's see what Canterbury do in the backs.
Pause, engage.
What a staggered formation out there.
Think another bomb might go up?
Yes, they look like they're ready to chase. Who knows? Paul Williams hovering in behind there. Scott Hamilton is wide.
Well, Auckland have targeted that area around Stephen Brett and Hamish Guard. Attack that to the line. See what Canterbury can do.
Senio gets good clean ball. Drop the pass off to Guard. Did Brett. Right on the 10-metre line for Senio to clean. Gives it up to Patterson.
Roll forward. Heads out, 19.
Trying to twist and turn his way through was Kevin O'Neill. Canterbury just looking to slow it down a little. Campbell Johnston takes it an extra metre. Patterson reaching in. No, in fact, it's Reed.
I'm on his feet. Holding on.
So not releasing the ball. Corey Flynn, the last man up.
Yeah, he was the support player, Nisbo. He wasn't the one carrying the ball. I'm pretty sure it was Kieran Reid, and he was on his left hip, Corey Flynn, but a man on the feet had all the rights.
Well, this is what happened. They need to get over the gain line, get the right numbers in, quickly recycle the ball, which they haven't done in recent weeks. And if Canterbury get quick ball from the phase play from the rucks and mauls, Stephen Brett then can start weaving his magic and direct the ship around the park.
McCartney throws. Haiu reaches up and grabs it. Nathiwa, Tui Tupo, double round with Nathiwa, who's been running really strongly in this game tonight. Ball is there for Moa. Slings it across to Ward, right on the 22.
Get out.
Bradley Meek, who's been itching to get his hands on the ball. He's got that now, and he's got a nice pass away as well. Now Tau Moipiau. So the onslaught continues. Nathiwa holding the ball up. Tui Tupo barreling straight into Ben Franks. Moa goes back to the left. Ward. Now Kaino. Kaino strong. Couldn't get the pass off. Player overran him. But Auckland posing a real threat here. Again, it's Mika. Hands it back to Moa. Now Nathiwa again running at the line. Afoa taking a lot of putting down John Afoa. Again they go again. Short pass.
Get out, 12.
Works it off to Tui Tupou. Boy, this defence is good, but you wonder how much longer. Try scores.
Brett Ward.
Brent Ward, the fullback.
Yep, he's come in from the back door, got a sniff, got excited. Just reward for Auckland, who've been hammering away, playing the game on the right end. Brett Ward, that's his number 6 for this year. He can certainly know his way over the chalk line.
Have a look at Ward, he's just to the left here. Just like a loose forward.
Just out on their feet, some of these Canterbury players. I think the defence is just starting to tell with some of them, because normally they're very strong around the fridges. No covering players coming across left to thinner back, shall we say, more slender backs to bolster the fringes up, and that's where they were exposed. So they'll draw breath, Canterbury, and they have been under siege.
All the stats against Canterbury as Nathiwa converts. And the most important stat of all, the scoreboard is now against them as well. 13-7. 5.5 minutes left in the first half.
Yes, well, they've hogged the nut, they've hogged the ground. This was just a relentless pressure. Captain Sam had a dip. And then Brent Ward just came in off, just lurking, sniffing around like a little shark on the back waves. Excellent try.
Brett kicks off. Curtis Haiu claims it. Had a very good season again for Auckland. Curtis Haiu, he just toils away. Onto the left boot of Stanley. Trying to control it here is Rico Gear. Gets the call from Hamilton, who's a better kicker of the ball. And he slams it down, but it's straight to Stanley, who gets it back. Now he looks to open it up, fires it off to Nathiwa. He sees there's nobody home out the back, but he didn't quite get the angle right. And Williams has it. Tui Tupou, not a noted kicker of the ball. Claimed by Senio, who drags Tui, who's taken down by Tui Tupou. So Flynn acting halfback. Brett.
Not as good as this previous bomb.
Didn't quite get the distance required. Knocked on by Smith.
Offside.
And offside, claimed by a player in front.
Well, Smithy, Canterbury not afraid to put the ball in the air with the big bombs and the good chase line.
Well, he kicks it so high, Stephen Brett. He gets so much elevation. They can get any number of chasers underneath it. And then, of course, these days, Stu, you just have one guy in pursuit and then the rest are fringing round, depending on which way it ricochets. Look, you got players like number 5 in front, Stephen Brett in front of the guy trying to take it. Now, this is a very important kick, you feel, for the confidence of Stephen Brett. His side's been under pressure, been under siege, and they're down their own line. If they can just creep closer, they'll feel as if they haven't done too badly when you look at the numbers across the board on territory and possession.
Yes, they're getting a hiding in that area. 30% territory, 35% possession. It's their defence which is holding them in at the moment. So Brett's kick is off the post. Auckland looking to control it. And in fact, Moa grabs it and away he goes. Chased by Patterson. So Auckland out of it for the moment. The kick goes to Nathiwa and he slams it down into touch. And Auckland survive.
Well, 2 misses. One off the woodwork and the other one he just basically hooked it. 6 points begging would have kept them level, but they've certainly been outplayed with possession and territory. They've missed a handful of tackles, the Red and Blacks. Normally they're pretty tight in that area.
Try goes down as far as Reed. I'm not sure that it was meant for him.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, stay here. Senio
now for Brett. Drops it up for guard, but Auckland up very strongly. And they've rolled him. Boy, they've lost it again. Canterbury, they've turned it over. Tui Tupou. Again, Moa. Nathiwa times the pass, but he threw it away. It was knocked on by Canterbury by Franks. Now Arfoa wades his way through a couple of tackles. Boy, he's had some sort of game, John Arfoa.
Advantage is over.
Moa now to Big Bear Bradley Mika. Boy, he's huge. Auckland looking, I presume, getting Mika on just to add a bit of physical stuff to the match. Ball stolen, and Brett has booted it off downfield. Now there's a real chase here. Rico Gear showing tremendous pace. I think Brent Ward's just going to beat him, and I think he's dragged it back. Could be a 5-metre scrum here.
Ready to carry back. Do we need to look?
I think you do need to look.
Time.
I think it's a 5-metre scrum.
Yeah,
certainly,
I think so.
Just from here.
Well, Stephen Brett is the hottest first 5 in the country at the moment, and he's capable of changing games. For a young man, he has an uncanny ability to keep his forwards going by his kicking game. Now, that was just beautifully judged. He knew there was no one at the back door. How did that look from this angle?
Well, I don't know. I reckon he may have first made contact with it just before the line, Brent Ward, but there's nothing in it.
Oh.
It's a cruel roll for him, wasn't it?
Oh, I think it hit the line, Smithy.
Yeah,
It's on the line.
It might have hit the line.
Yeah, I think he might be okay here.
Yep, there.
Well, if you live in north of the Bombay Hills, you'd say that's definitely 22. And if you're down here in Ballon, sitting on the
carried
Avon,
back. Yep. 5-metre scrum red.
Oh, he says it's carried back.
Time on. It's been carried back. 5-metre scrum.
this is just not the thing that Auckland wanted. 39 minutes, 13-7. That was a great kick. He knew there was no one at the back door, so he just floated it over, sat up pretty well, and it just bobbled along the goal line.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Heck. That's why it's a fantastic game, isn't it, Grant? You just don't know. We think it's a 22, and no, someone else says, no, it's not. It's a 5-minute scrum.
Yeah.
Crouch.
Hawks have got to hold him out.
Stand up.
And Canterbury really do need a rip snorter of a scrum. Last attacking opportunity.
Well, they won't get many shots at it here. As you can see, the clock is ticking towards 40.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage. Steady.
Quickly rolled in. There goes the siren. Auckland will be conscious of slowing this down. They're going to concede a penalty.
Yeah, it was a ruck. You can't get your hands in there once it's a ruck. Would that be a deliberate one? Just to say, right, let's give them 3. Still keep our noses in front. And this will be the end of the half.
I wouldn't mind having another look at that replay of Brent Ward, because I've got the entire Auckland coaching staff around me. If he could manage that, where was his feet? Was there any part of him behind the line when he picked the ball up?
Well, that Moa, Tania Mola, I mean, he was quite able to do that. He was certainly on his feet.
Have another look
when
at
he went
it
in
here.
snatching the ball.
There's Brent Ward. Where's his feet? Has he got anything? His knees behind the line when he touches the ball. Does that constitute anything?
Oh, I don't know whether he carried that back, Smithy. I think it was a controversial call.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a little upset about why Moa wasn't allowed to go for the ball when he was on his feet.
Well, there's one of the try scorers in the match, Brent Ward. A penalty goal by Stephen Brett brings down the curtain in the first half, and it's been Ranfurly Shield rugby at its best. Auckland leading at the break by 13-10.
Well, in that first 40 minutes, Grant, you know, Auckland spent 13 minutes in Canterbury's 22, and hence they've got their noses in front. Just 1 try each. Canterbury operated on scraps, with possession and scraps on territory, and yet it just 3 points adrift, and that's why they're a class act.
The 2 fullbacks have scored the tries in the Shield Challenge, Scott Hamilton and Brent Ward, and Auckland the challengers, leading at the break by 13 points to 10. Ranfurly Shield at stake here at AMI Stadium tonight, and top qualifier too at the end of round robin in the Air New Zealand Cup. Auckland hold the advantage at half-time, 1 try apiece in the match, and just a penalty in it, with Issa Nathiwa landing a couple to Stephen Brett's 1. 13 points to 10, and we've seen plenty of good action in this game. And the first try of the match came from a poor reception of the ball by Auckland from the kickoff. And watch Stephen Brett here.
This guy's very, very classy. And he just weighted that pass beautifully. And Scott Hamilton, as you'd expect, Scott Hamilton just to be lurking near the ball. That's a lovely pass there. And Senio had vision to spot Scott Hamilton. And although that looked easy, that's very, very classy from a good outfit.
Now, Auckland have been hammering away for a long time. And the break finally came when Tui Tupou went for the line. And it was Brent Ward on hand as the ball spewed sideways. And he just crashed over by the posts.
Yeah, well, if 115 can do it, so can the other. And Brett Ward, again, he's very much like Scott Hamilton. He lurks, picks up all the crumbs and all the scraps, got an easy meat pie. Well, even though she's only a 3-point ball game, look at Auckland. They've hogged the territory, they've hogged possession, and as a result, they've played the game in the correct area. Minutes and 22, they've spent 13 minutes of that first 40 camped inside the Canterbury 22, and the Canterbury team has been under pressure. And when you're under pressure and you haven't got too much ball, missed tackles. 12-3. They've got a dozen missed tackles already, and that red and black machine is normally pretty reliable. And I'd say Rob Penny, the coach at halftime, will be saying, boys, we need to lower the blue and whites.
7 penalties handed out in the first half. 3 against Canterbury, 4 against Auckland. Everything to play for in the second 40 minutes here in Christchurch. Auckland leading by 13 points to 10. Week 10 of the Air New Zealand Cup and the Ranfurly Shield. Everything happening here at AMI Stadium. And it's been a game and a half as well. 13 points to 10. Controversial moment here. Now, has the ball made it over the line? It certainly hit the line. And the call from upstairs was that it was carried back. And Ian Smith is sideline. And I think your monitor down there, Smithy, was invaded by Auckland officials and players. And they are livid.
They were livid because it resulted in 3 points. They did fear, of course, that it may well result in 7 points. But they had a big defensive scrum, Auckland. Maybe there was a hint of anger in it. But from that resultant more, they conceded a penalty, of course. They weren't too happy about that either, I might add. But they had to really cool their heels and get back in and deliver the message, the coaching staff, back to these players now. And I guess the message would be, if you get that kind of territory and possession ratio in your favour, we must come away with some profit, otherwise Canterbury won't go away.
Well, Smithy, I agree with you. I thought the penalty against Tiniela Moa, when he was on his feet going for the ball, got penalised for it. It was a bit harsh. However, Auckland still in front.
And Stu, a big tactical call too by Pat Lam after about 27 minutes to get Bradley Meeker on. And it's all about the physicality, isn't it, really?
Yeah, well, Troy Flavel made a comment in Auckland this week. They said if you don't take the red and black machine up front in the forward pack, then you struggle all night. So you've got to meet them with physical and aggression at the breakdown. Guys like Curtis Hoyu, you know, he loves that contact and aggression in the tackle area. You know, they've got a couple of good grunters out there. That Bradley Meeker, the scrum's going okay.
Hamish Guard, big night for him. First really big test in the midfield. So in the next 40 minutes, we'll see where the Ranfurly Shield finishes up over the summer. We'll find out who the top qualifier is in the Air New Zealand Cup. Chris Pollock blows time on in the second half at AMI Stadium as the kickoff is claimed by Flavel. Immediately Braid takes it off him. Now Moa works it back to Nathiwa, and Stanley, who has the educated left boot. Auckland have that advantage with a left footer coming in admittedly from the wing. Oh, that's a big tackle. Tui Tupou, you'd expect that as Ben Franks takes it in for Canterbury. Now Senio Brett kicks, partially charged and easily handled by Ward.
That's a good boot.
It is a good kick. Drifting back after it is Reed, Senio, and into touch it goes.
Well, in this opening 5 or 10 minutes in this half, Grant, I am predicting that both sides will just probe. Most of these games against Canterbury and Auckland are close, whether they're high scoring or low scoring. And it's the error rate, it's the mistakes. The team that will make the least mistakes normally gets out on top.
Is Flavel. So Auckland in possession, just on the Canterbury side of halfway. Nathiwa. Waiting for this will be Hamilton. To Tupou, waiting for him to come down and times it beautifully. Decided he couldn't get there to contest, so he had to wait. Now here's Mika's after Brett, and he's got him too, showing good pace. Bradley Mika. And Auckland have savaged him, and they've freed the ball off. It was given to a player who was not really balanced and waiting for it. So now they have to start again. Mika shovels it across. Taumoipia to McCartney. Now it's Moa to Nathiwa. Nathiwa! Now he's still going, and Brent Ward's got two. Auckland strike early in the second half.
Wow, Auckland kicked themselves downtown, got into the attacking zone, the red zone as they call it. And again, they ran at 10 and 12. They're going in that area just on the inside backs. That's the tackle. And the turnover was made. Stephen Brett got caught. Bobbled out. And here it is. He takes the line. A couple of props. Number 2, a prop and a hooker. He went straight through them.
Yeah, it might have even been 2 props. I think it was Campbell Johnson and Ben Franks. But the secret to Auckland here is they're putting so much pressure on Stephen Brett, the Canterbury playmaker. Earlier in those phases, he had a kick partially charged down because of some really aggressive defence. And then, of course, Mika on top of him when he wanted to have the option to clear. And he did have an option there, but Mika was just too quick for him. And Nathiwa, quick on his feet.
Nathiwa's conversion is straight down the middle. So an important start to the second half for the Challengers, and they now lead by 10.
Oh, it was a good run, and he's a very talented player. This guy plays fullback, plays wing, plays in the playmaker's role, the 10 jersey. Just a beautiful little pass, and again, Brett Ward just lurking behind the ball carrier.
Short kickoff for Canterbury. And they've lost the ball forward.
He's been taken out, but the first one was off too.
And in fact, a double infringement there.
Yeah, when you're up for it.
So Brent Ward now with 7 tries for the season, which takes him to the front.
Yep, he's the top dog. And he's always there because he knows he's got playmakers and line break runners in front of him. So he allows them to do weave their magic, and then he just lurks up on the inside. But he positions himself very well for the support pass. He doesn't front run, keeps him behind the ball carrier, and when they get into trouble, he just says, "I'm here if you want me."
Pause, engage!
Oh, this is a good start that Auckland wanted in the second half, not the start that Canterbury wanted.
Interesting, Mika at the back, isn't it? Chosen to put Flavel in at lock. They could have used Mika at lock, but the bulk at the back of that scrum there.
So Kaino has gone to the blind side. Mika holds it, and now it's cleared off to Nathiwa. Looking to turn. Canterbury's done it again with a very good kick.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it, Grant? Gee. Now, Issa Nathiwa, look, he's got a very expansive mindset, which suits the Auckland game plan. You know, he last started, watch this, he last started in the number 10 jersey back in round 5, and since then's played on the wing, fullback, and of course he does a bit of goal kicking too, which helps. Very talented player.
Yes, well, he was fullback last week and played very well in that role as well. So Flynn throws, or tipped dangerously, but cleared by Senio. Brett Got a nice bounce and has got very good distance on